And we get back to this guy's car, and he pops the trunk, and there's 2 loaded 9mm in the back of the trunk and a bag of methadones. And the guy looks at me, I look at him, and he's like, for me, like the whole trauma aspect and the nervous system, like I need certainty. I need certainty. That's where my perfectionism comes in. That's where the need to control outcomes comes in. And there's no such thing. Like even when I was down here in September with you, you know, you're like, oh, hop on the podcast. And I'm like, I don't feel good. I was sick that week or whatever. I'm like, I don't feel good. I'm not clear. I'm not this. I don't look good. Like whatever. There never will be a right time. The right time is when you decide that this is the right time. And I'm getting more and more confirmation on that, because the more and more I wait for things to be perfect, the more I wait for like my motivation, peak freaking vitality, energy level, like everything to come together in the perfect little form. That's never going to happen, dude. It's never going to happen. Like I have to go out and create that for myself. And like you said, dude, perfectly, I've never not been taken care of. Even when I was on the balls of my ass, dude, like I was even then as the lowest of low bottom addicts, dude, God was still taking care of me then. And you know, that's where my faith has really come in, dude, where I had to recognize just how much God has always done for me when I was able to take a step back, look back from like a macro perspective and see all those little points in my life where I thought that he let me down, but he really did. He never did, dude. He never did. He brought me through all of those spaces because I needed to go through that for character development reasons. And now I'm here and I'm like still waiting for more signs. How many more synchronicities do I need before I recognize that like I'm ready to access a new level?
It will never happen.
It'll never happen.
It will never happen.
It'll never happen. But those synchronicities and the signs that I will get after I make the move, dude, I get goosebumps thinking about it because like I pray on these things, dude, and I'm like, God, give me a sign, give me strength, give me clarity. Like, you know, I'm like begging God to give me these things, which I don't think that I already have, which is false to begin with. And, you know, I recognize now that God will only bless me with the things that I pray for unless I take action on them first. So then he could bless me as a byproduct of being obedient to him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's the difference. And it's like, thy will be done, not mine, dude. I'm a servant, bro. I'm a servant. My only job is to listen and take action on the things that I listen about, that I listen from him. And it's like, by me taking my will back, that's all pride, dude. That's all ego. I need things to be perfect. That's fucking pride.
So when are you moving down to Florida, bro?
I don't know, dude. Just open that. I'll be your au pair, dude. Just open up that bedroom upstairs for me. I'll take care of Lumi full time. I'll only charge you like $1 for $150 a year. You know, fringe benefits will work out too. I don't know. Maybe I'll need a gas card or something like that too. We'll
Rise above gas card.
Rise above gas card. We'll figure
Never giving
out.
Anyone out, but we will make one for you.
But you want to know something? Like the synchronicities. I run into my friend Rachel. She just bought a place up in Tequesta. We're talking and she's like, you moving down here? You know, whatever. I've been telling her that. Mm-hmm. And she's like, funny enough, I'm moving out next month. My landlord has an opening, $1,250 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment in this guy's house. She's like, I'll introduce you to him.
Oh my God.
2 seconds later, the guy comes walking by.
Oh, there are your signs.
Do you want me to introduce you? I'm like, no. She's like, you'll meet him.
Bro.
He was with his kid. And
Who
stuff
cares?
like that.
I would have been like, F your kid. We're talking apartment. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, dude, those are the signs.
Like, those are the signs.
But the thing is, you know what's wild? We're talking about always being taken care of. I felt my most comfortable when I was down and out on drugs. Like my anxiety, my I was depressed while I was on drugs, but like I was so numb. I had no idea what was going on, but it's crazy because I felt most comfortable in the chaotic situations. And then now we get sober, we get these lives beyond our wildest dreams. And then now the anxiety kicks up and it's like, 100%. I can't make a decision because I don't want to commit. Commitment is huge too.
100, yeah. I agree.
I have a problem with commitment.
Oh, you and I both, bro. You and I both. Yeah, we're two peas in the same pod when it comes to that, man. No, but yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head again, where, my nervous system is so accustomed to chaos from my childhood and just like the circumstances of my life. Everything was chaos. So not only did I become addicted to the actual events of the chaos, but I got addicted to the literal chemical reactions that were happening inside my body, dude. It was just like another drug. It was just another drug. So that avoidance, the lack of committing to something, is keeping me stuck in that whirlwind of like chemical reactions from the chaos.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, if I make a decision to do something different than I've always done, what would happen? It would mean that I'm stepping into the version of myself that I keep praying about, that I've taken so much action on, and it would finally be time to step into that role, to step into adult John, not scared little boy constantly craving chaos and uncertainty in my life. I'll actually be able to move forward. That's the scariest part, because I know who I am in the chaos. When I was doing drugs, dude, I knew who I was. I knew exactly where I fell on the totem pole of like the socioeconomic totem pole. I knew where I was. I was at the bottom, but I felt comfortable there because I had a place. Now it's like a kid going to college, dude. Like, oh, I'm stepping out into the real world. I get to finally find out what my identity is, who I am, like the people who I want to hang out with. I get to choose who I am going forward and figure all that out. I'm doing that at 41. So I've had like 20 something years of not knowing who the fuck I am, dude. And it's scary and exciting as shit, and both can exist at the same time. But, inside my nervous system, there's still something that I feel a lot that brings me back to the familiar hell. Because I know how I feel here, small, addicted, depressed, anxious. I know what that feels like. I don't know what the other side, the familiar heaven, feels like. Taking chances, taking risks, seizing opportunities, being in the company of people who are actually up to things and making an impact in the world. I don't know what that's like, but I fucking want to find out, dude. I want to find out. And I've been doing it, so it's like one of these come to Jesus moments of expansion and actual growth. I don't have to react from that scared I don't have to be a scared little boy anymore, dude. I could actually be a grown up.
One of the biggest things, you know what, really quick, before we continue on, I want to just, fill things in here for the audience. So,
oh, shit, I forgot we were recording.
No, dude, this is great conversation. This is all going in. But so audience, today I have John Rokee. John Rokee this is a very special guest for me, and this is one of my childhood friends. You have been through hell and back, and I do want to say that I respect where you are. I respect, your journey, how you never stopped fighting. You have a very unique story. So you and I used together. We went.
Oh, we did. We went hard, bro. We went hard for a long time.
We went very hard. John is an opiate guy like myself. Yep. And, John and I, once I graduated college in 2007, and John and I kind of lost touch. We still stayed in touch for drug purposes, but like we were both in high active addiction. Mm-hmm. And we weren't as close, and we floated away, but we would always stay in touch. And then in 2014, John had a seizure. You went into a coma. You almost died. Mm-hmm. And your parents were getting ready to bury you. Mm-hmm. Your whole family was. Mm-hmm. And then you miraculously pulled through. You got clean for 11 years. Mm-hmm. And listen, there's no one way to recover. My recovery, I've tried it every which way. I tried putting the drugs down, drinking. I've tried putting hard drugs down, no drinking, just smoking weed. I've tried gambling and not done any substances. Yep. And I figured out I was just using in other ways.
Mhm.
And I continued to do that for a very long time until I put everything down, including the gambling, XYZ. And that's when I was able to build that spiritual connection that brought me to the next level. It didn't just remove drugs and alcohol out of my life. It made me a better person. And I found that happiness that I was looking for through drugs and alcohol, without drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
So you, over those 11 years, would sporadically have a drink here and there, and you were working on yourself and you made a lot of progress. But I think you hit this ceiling where your spiritual growth, it was kind of maxed out.
Yeah.
And you weren't growing anymore and you wanted to grow more.
Mhm.
And over a year ago, you decided to put the drinking down and get fully sober.
Mhm.
And you did that. And you had a year a few months ago.
Yeah.
I want to congratulate you.
I appreciate it,
you're
man.
about
Yeah.
like a year and 3 months sober-ish now.
14 months.
14 months sober. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, thank you.
But also too, man, I mean, it's crazy that you only just stuck to drinking and having a beer here and there.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I watched you.
Yeah.
Like I was sober and I would see you have a beer and just chill.
Oh,
And then that was it.
My ego loves saying that.
I was like blown away. I was like, wow, this guy's like healed, I
Yeah.
guess, you know? But then you came out and you're like, dude, I can't spiritually grow anymore. And you humbled yourself. You went to meetings. And I'm not saying going to meetings is the only way to recover. It worked for me and it's working for John. And you humbled yourself and you walked in and put your hand up and said you had one day and you hadn't touched heroin in 11 years, which is wild.
Yeah.
So I commend you on that. And I commend you on wanting to grow to your max potential.
I appreciate it, man. Thank
So
you.
with that said, you know, we were just talking about the growth and we'll get back into that in a minute. And that's part of your healing journey. You do a lot. What's your social, by the way? Your Instagram and your TikTok. One thing I've learned through recovery is that drugs, alcohol, and gambling, those are symptoms. The real work is what's underneath it. Anxiety, trauma, depression, the pain we try to numb. That's one of the reasons I partnered with Compassion Behavioral Health. They don't just treat the behavior, they focus on the mental health side of recovery. Compassion is intentionally boutique sized, so treatment is individualized, not one size fits all. They offer a full continuum of care, from detox through outpatient and even virtual support. And alongside evidence-based therapies, they also provide innovative treatments like TMS, neurofeedback, and EMDR when appropriate. Because lasting recovery isn't just about removing a substance, it's about addressing what's driving it. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction or mental health, this is a structured, stigma-free place to start. They're in-network with major insurance providers and available 24/7. Call or text 844-443-5669. That's 844-443-5669, or visit compassionbehavioralhealth.com.
Everything is at John Rokee 21.
At John Rokee, Rokee 21.
Yep.
You started making videos and to help other people. And it's amazing. Like they're spot on. You get extremely humble. There's this saying, you can't save your ass and your face at the same time. And you're saving your ass by putting yourself out there, but you're helping other people.
Yeah.
That's that growth, when you help other people. And you got there through your sobriety journey this time.
Yes.
So let's take a big step back. You're from Long Island, New York. We grew up together. We played sports together.
Yeah.
Football, you played baseball. Little League, we played sports together. Tell everyone a little bit just about your childhood and what your upbringing was like.
Yeah, sure, man. To preface, so I appreciate the opportunity coming on and commend you for the work that you've done to be of service to others, dude. To watch you from the ground up and see what you've built and the amount of lives that you've been able to change, dude. It's an honor to know you and to be a part of this, even from the backgrounds. It's incredible what you put together. But
Thank you, brother.
yeah, man, of course. Yeah, I mean, just suburbia USA, kind of Long Island. The upbringing for the most part, man. Little League games during the summer and the whole 9 yards. Grew up middle class. My father was a New York City fireman. My mom was stay at home at the time. I have a younger sister who's 2 years older than me. Um, Everything was normal until my parents got divorced. And I'll never forget, getting sat down by my parents and, my dad kind of breaking the news saying, I'm moving out. And there was a lot of tears, a lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainty. I was 9, and it was 3 days before I was going into fifth grade, I think, like fourth grade or fifth grade, something. So not only did I have that uncertainty to contend with in the house, I was also going to start school again, a new school year, a new teacher, a new this. Um, I didn't know how to handle it, bro. Like I still vividly remember just running up to my room and just crying on my bed, dude. Like ugly crying on my bed, and I didn't understand grown up problems. I didn't have the IQ. I didn't have the emotional intelligence enough to kind of really rationalize the situation. For me, what I found out about myself somewhat recently is that I'm a very sensitive human being. I always thought that that was a weakness, right? Like I'm in tune with people's emotions. I look at facial expressions. I hear words that people say. Uh, a character defect of mine, though, is that I internalize it all, and I make it mean that there's something wrong with me. So even at 9 years old, that's what I did. And I'm like, oh, my parents are getting divorced. My dad, who's my hero, is leaving because there's something wrong with me. And dude, ingrained in my head, in my body, in my nervous system, something is wrong with me. And I was angry. There was so much sadness there that came out as anger. That year in school, I almost got expelled from elementary school for fighting all the time, dude. I was never a fighter. Still am not, was never. But as a kid, man, there was just so much anger there, repressed, that needed to get out. And I took it out on everybody, just fighting constantly. And I got to the point where these people in the school, my teachers, are like, we don't know what to do with this kid anymore. So I got out of that. And yeah, as I got older, I was the only one in my friend group whose parents were divorced. Everybody else's parents were together. So, like, there were things that happened and circumstances in my life, just like the friend groups and stuff, where I would look and start comparing myself to other people, and it would just add onto the belief that I took on about myself that I wasn't enough. I wasn't good enough. Something was wrong with me. Uh, yeah.
So that's 9 years old. Your parents sit you down, you go through a divorce. I
Hmm.
mean, that happens often.
Hmm.
But for a 9-year-old, I feel like that is like the worst age because right before 5, kids kind of they don't have too many memories of the parents together.
Right.
9, you have gone almost through elementary school. You and I used to play Little League baseball
Yeah.
together when your parents were
Yeah.
still together.
Yeah, dude.
I remember that.
My dad was the coach of the little league teams.
Yeah.
We would used to hang out in your backyard for parties and stuff.
Yes.
Um,
Our parents were friends.
our parents were friends. We would always do like the little league barbecues and stuff like that together,
Mhm.
hanging out. I think one of the things that really got me, dude, is that, and honestly, I don't know if I wouldn't say it to my kid or another kid too, is when my dad left, the male members of my family all started coming out out of the woodwork, and my dad included, and was like, "You're the man of the house now. You need to look after your mom, make sure she's okay. Got to look after your little sister, make sure that she's okay." And I took that to heart, and I'm like, now I have a role to fulfill. I'm the man of the house now. I'm 9 years old.
That's too much.
What does being the man of the house even look like? What is my responsibility here? I had no idea. So there was a role that was kind of given onto me from a very young age that I didn't know how to fulfill. And then dealing with all the other uncertain aspects of my life, and going to see my dad, scheduling and visitation rights and stuff. I was angry, and I didn't know why I was so angry, but I think now, I was angry because somebody was telling me that I have to do something. I have a responsibility. And I knew deep down that it wasn't my responsibility to take on that role. And I did anyway.
It's funny. Ironic. It's not funny. It's ironic because I would say 60% of the guests that I have on here, obviously they're on here because they're recovering from some
Right.
kind of addiction.
Right.
They say, maybe a parent left or the parents just weren't there and they took on the responsibility of taking care of their younger siblings. And they were at a young age. And you have all of this thrown on your plate at such a young age and like the expectations of, and you're already living up to expectations at 9 years old. Right. 9 years old, you're supposed to just go out on a field and have fun and run around, be a kid. And when these responsibilities are thrown on someone at a young age, that's fucking stressful.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. And you're still growing. I think it's up to 9 years old is when like your brain is still, your brain is always developing, but it's like that crucial point from a childhood where your brain is like fully developing.
Yeah.
And then that's like the last year where that major kid development time period happens.
Exactly.
And it just sticks with you forever.
Exactly.
So that like nervous system, until you're 41, you're still going to feel it in certain situations.
Of course, yeah.
It's traumatizing.
Pretty much. Yeah. There's no other word for it. And I know the word trauma gets thrown around a lot lately. It's like a buzzword now. But it's real. It's real. And, there's big T trauma, little T traumas or whatever. But especially in childhood development, an overwhelming majority of the things that we carry with us are from childhood. Yes, we experience different horrors and atrocities, and life is just nothing but pain and suffering, depending on how we deal with it anyway. That just compounds to the stuff that we experience in early childhood.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to deal with it, dude. I did not know how to deal with it. And I took my frustrations out on other people and myself internally.
It's crazy. All right. So you go on to middle school. Take us through middle school. What was that experience like?
Middle school. Middle school was interesting. I find that, we're coming into the real world in middle school, right? Like you're in elementary school, you grew up with these same kids from like pre-K, everybody pretty much, they're neighborhood kids, they live around the block. Now you're going into middle school, and the town that we grew up in was a big town. So we had like 10 elementary schools that just came together. Schools, and now everybody's flooding in together. And I'm like, thank God for sports because I knew a bunch of kids from baseball or whatever. Yeah. But outside of that, I'm like, wow, I'm going from like a 20-person class to now a couple of hundred. This is an identity creation time here. I got to find out who I am. And it's funny. I'm writing a book right now, and I speak about this in my book where I'm like, I needed to find out who I was. And when I came into middle school from elementary school, like, dude, I was wearing like hand-me-down tight ass jeans, was wearing the same basketball jersey. All I wore, my whole entire wardrobe was basketball jerseys, the sports jerseys. And I thought that was cool. Like, nobody else said anything to me about it in elementary school. I thought I was one of the cool kids, But, oh boy, was I wrong when I got into elementary school and people were just like... Middle school, letting me have it, dude. Your jeans, it's so tight. Like, oh, you look this way, you look that way. And, even back then, I was a skinny kid, dude. My family used to tease me all the time about lovingly, but like these are the things that just kind of started getting embedded in my brain, especially taking that I'm not good enough, something is wrong with me after my parents got divorced. Now I'm like, oh, I look different. I'm different than everybody else because now I look different. And now they're poking fun at the jeans that I'm wearing or the same crusty old Sean Kemp Supersonics jerseys that I was wearing.
Dude, I thought that I thought that jersey was pretty dope. The Sean Kemp one.
Yeah, I have
The
one
green?
back at your house, dude. Nice relic throwback, dude. Those things are dope now that I'm 40, But back then, when I had 4 different iterations of the same jersey, and I would just wear them, that was Monday through Thursday. And maybe I would throw like a St. John's University basketball jersey on Friday to spice things up, But what wound up happening, I was like, I need to reinvent myself because people don't like me as I am. I need to reinvent myself. And so I started getting like hand-me-downs from my older cousin. I went from like the skinniest of skinny jeans to like Jenkos, dude. Big, oversized everything, t-shirts or whatever. And I'll never forget Kim McNeely coming up to me one day. I used to have a crush on her big time in 6th grade. And she came up to me after my little wardrobe change. And she's like, "You look so cool. Your new clothes," or whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is how I get validation from people.
Did you get a high when she gave you that comment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't know it back then, but
Of
I'm
course,
like,
of
I'm
course.
getting complimented because I changed something about
Yeah.
myself, right? That had its drawbacks too. I was handing in homework or something like that. I'm standing up in front of the whole class wearing these jeans that are, I was probably like a size 20 waist back then, but the jeans were a 40, right? And I'm holding it together by a thread. My pants just fall down. My belt broke or something like that. My pants fall down. I'm wearing like tighty whities, probably with shit stains in the underwear back then. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, wow, I tried so hard to be something and it still didn't work out. So, I was just like trying to find my niche. Who do I fit in with?
Chameleon. Yeah.
Chameleon.
Wait, really quick. Can you act? This is a cool flex.
Yeah.
The clothes that were coming from your cousin. Can you say who your cousin is?
Yeah, I don't think it might. So my cousin.
This is cool.
My cousin is, for all the emo heads out there back in the early 2000s, if you were into that scene, the band Brand New, my cousin was the lead guitarist from Brand New.
Dude. This is your first cousin. I've met him
This is
many
my first
times.
cousin,
It's actually pretty dope.
Yeah,
That's a cool flex.
I went to go see them at Nassau Coliseum just a couple of months ago. We had like backstage passes, like their coming out tour. They were bookshelf for a little while, but yeah,
that's
it was pretty cool.
That's an
Pretty
awesome
cool.
flex.
Yeah,
that's cool. All right. So, anyways, you're now Chameleon through middle school, but you're playing sports, right? You're playing we played basketball together. You were playing baseball, football, and you were good.
Yeah.
You were good. Dude, at football field, you were a starter. Like, you were really good. And I feel like, we played sports, and if you're a good athlete, I feel like in middle school, high school, you kind of fit in. Like if you were a good athlete, everyone just accepted you. Like
Pretty much.
he's skilled, like whatever. Like it's all good. So it's interesting that you were still battling that through being a good athlete on top of it.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Like, Kev, the thing is that I didn't recognize that I was going through that at the time. Like everything that I'm saying now is from the wisdom that I have over 25 years of doing this work, But I carried that around. Even my my middle school football coach, he nicknamed me Big Guns. Like that was the name. My arms were like this. They were toothpicks, So like even the coaches, they loved me, but it was still like this thing that I'm not like everybody else. So I'm having this this moniker placed upon me that's kind of like making fun of my size. Yes, I was a gifted athlete, but comparing myself to my friends like you and a couple of other people, I'm like, I don't look like these guys. I'm not as big as these guys. So I always felt as if I had to try more in order to like reach the equal levels of success or whatever. But, being a naturally gifted athlete, it does open up many more doors of opportunities as far as social circles are concerned. I didn't really have to try too hard to like fit in with the cool crowd.
Yeah. So, all right, you go to high school.
Mm-hmm.
You're again playing sports through high school. What was high school like for you?
High school was awesome, dude.
I
loved high school.
It was pretty sick.
I loved high school.
We had like ideal American kid high school, you know?
It was great, bro. Like honestly, I hate to be one of those guys who just like sit and harp on the past,
I do.
like the Al Bundy moments.
I'm Al Bundy.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
Andy Garlic comes by. I'm like, hey, you want to see my trophies? I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah.
No, I actually do
I
that.
get it, man. I get it. I loved high school, and I loved it because I was best friends with guys like you who all had older brothers. We were always taken care of. We were never not taken care of. And I have to say, for all the stuff that I had going on internally and stuff, I had a personality, man. We all had super outgoing, funny.
Mhm.
Um, so like people loved us because we were good kids, just good people.
We weren't doing bad shit
We
then.
weren't doing bad shit.
Yet.
Yet.
We weren't doing bad shit yet. We were good kids. Like we played sports. We listened. Like we had our parents gave us curfews. I would miss it here and there. We did start dabbling with drinking, 8th grade, 9th grade.
Mm.
And then that went on. But like, I didn't start smoking weed until 10th grade. I think that was
me too.
around when you started. But like we were relatively good kids. We weren't getting expelled from school. We were getting decent grades with, a future ahead of us.
Of course.
So
Yeah, we were those people where, the teachers, the principals, the coaches are like, those group of kids right there, they're going to be somebody in the world. They're going to be somebody. We had all the intangibles. We were good athletes. We were smart, charismatic. A majority of us good looking individuals. That takes us further too. We had it all. We had it all. Like you said, I just started drinking in 8th grade, and that never stopped. I was always trying to fit in, dude. I was always trying to fit in. And even though we were taken care of by like your older brothers and stuff like that, and the guys 1 grade above us in sports and out of sports, I tried so hard to fit in. And I would do anything that anybody told me to do if they were older, just because I wanted to be accepted. Because there was this underlying feeling, dude, that I didn't belong in any circle. I don't care how much these guys told me that they loved me, how much validation that I would get from anybody. Inherently, I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. Like I was a black sheep everywhere. And, that led me down some really dark roads, even when I was young, dude, 15, 16. Like I took my first Vicodin from a kid who was a year older in the high school locker room after a football practice one day because he told me that this pill was going to make me feel like Superman on a football field. And without hesitation, dude, I just gobbled it up. So I'm like, oh, well, if this guy trusts me enough or like thinks highly enough of me to like offer me this pill, I must be doing something right. And if I turned him down, then I'm not going to belong. He's going to shun me. So I was a yes man, dude. I was a yes man forever, fawning, people pleasing. As long as everybody else was happy, I will abandon all of my boundaries, all of my values, all of my morals in order for somebody else to be like, John Rokee's a good kid. He's a good dude. And if I say no, I can't risk the possibility of somebody saying anything bad about me because my ego just could not handle rejection. Couldn't do it. So I would stop at nothing.
That hits hard.
I would stop at nothing, dude.
So you take your first Vicodin. What grade was that? Was that a junior? 10th grade. Okay, so you're
11th. Sorry.
Okay, so you're in 11th
Junior.
grade football.
Mm-hmm.
You take the first Vicodin. Where does it go from there? Is it casual Vicodin use through the rest of high school?
No.
Okay.
It was almost. I get goosebumps, man, just talking about this, reliving this, man. It was almost instantaneous. Where I had a girlfriend at the time. She was a year older than me. So I started getting Vicodins almost every day. And we would hang out. I would go to my girlfriend's house. We'd put Sopranos on and, just melt into the mattress. And I'm like, oh, this feeling is something that booze and weed have not given me yet. I was a fun drunk and I was fun getting high with or whatever. But this, excuse me, just allowed me to be so comfortable with myself, by myself, that I wanted more all of the time. And I, even though the pills were cheap, I was in 11th grade, dude. Like, what money did I have? You
Mhm.
know, the addict tendencies started coming out even back then. I was 16 years old. Started stealing from the cafeteria all the time because the allowance that my mom would give me, I would use it toward like pills and weed instead of food. So I'm stealing every single day from the cafeteria, every day, every day. When that wasn't enough, I figured out that if I cut class and go into the gym locker room, I can ransack people's lockers in the gym locker,
Mm.
go through their pockets, stealing. Dude, I'm talking sometimes I would get like $200 hauls in one time. And the rush that I would get knowing that I was doing something so against my morals was a high in and of itself. I would go down there even if I didn't need the money after a point. Even if I didn't need the money, I would go and do it just because I would get such a rush from it. But I would use that to fund my drug habit. Vicodins, dude, whatever. But then, we're drinking on the weekends. I need to buy, a couple of grams of hydro or something like that back then. It was never about what I could buy for myself, clothes or a new pair of shoes or something like that. It was, how can I get fucked up? Even back then.
Mm.
Then when that kind of started drying out, it was like, well, Valiums started coming into the picture. I have no idea how Valiums of all things started coming into the picture. But they're like, oh, well, if you sell X amount of Valiums, then you make X amount of money, then you get to keep Valiums for yourself. And I'm selling Valiums in the school bathrooms, and I had a safe in the back of my Nissan Altima with a freaking ounce of weed in it. I'm selling drugs in high school, like making runs for some of the older kids. And I got fully immersed in that kind of wheeling and dealing, doing drugs, stealing, that whole kind of thing before I even graduated high school.
Mm.
And the appeal of that lifestyle, because of the rush that it gave me, compounded with the rush and the high that the drugs gave me, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm somebody.
Yeah. So you get caught stealing senior year from the cafeteria.
Yeah, you remember that?
Of course I remember that, bro. We were all in tuxedos going to prom, and then Rokee's just standing there in the end in street clothes.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
but that's, listen, I know it's funny. We can laugh at it. You got caught stealing from the cafeteria and they expelled you, and then they said you can't go to prom. You graduated, but they said you couldn't go to prom.
Yeah, that was my punishment.
That's shitty, man. Like, that's your senior prom, and it's a repercussion.
It's a repercussion, but you want to know something, Kev? I didn't even want to, at that point, I didn't even care about going to senior prom. You want to know why?
Because we had a dope-ass house in the Hamptons.
We had a dope-ass house in the Hamptons. I had an ounce of weed for myself.
No, it wasn't for yourself. You had an ounce of weed for me and you.
Oh.
And you smoked the whole fucking thing before I even got out there. And dude, you never even made amends to me over. No, I'm kidding.
I do owe you $50 for that ounce, though. But yeah,
I had an ounce to myself. No, idiot, you had it for me and you.
I smoked an ounce for myself. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, well, all right. So that's your first repercussion, and then tell us a little bit about, you graduate high school. What do you do next? Quick break to remind you that if you or a loved one are struggling, you don't have to do it alone. Compassion Behavioral Health offers world-class mental health and addiction treatment. Give them a call at 844-443-5669 or visit compassionbehavioralhealth.com. Help is waiting. Now back to the episode. Yeah, I graduated high school. All of my best friends, you included, had college scholarships to go play ball elsewhere, and I had one of my guidance counselors was an old football player at St. John's University, and he would tell me, John, you have the talent, you just don't have the size.
if you bulk up and go to the gym and stuff like that and do what you're supposed to do, you could go play ball somewhere too. And again, it was just like one of those things where I'm just like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I don't want to go slog my way through a weight room and stuff like that or whatever. Like that just wasn't my thing. Honestly, I would rather go bang my girlfriend and smoke weed all day instead of putting in work in a weight room where some underclassman is just going to take my spot anyway. So like, what's the difference? I learned how to give up. I learned how to give up.
Mm.
So after high school, after seeing you and a bunch of our other friends like head away to play ball and the higher education, the whole nine, meet new people, I went to work. I decided to go to work. Another friend of ours' parents had a union construction company who we would all work like summers together. And I'm like, I like this. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. Can't sit behind a desk. School is kind of whack. I don't know what the hell I wanted to do. My initial goal was to just 2 years, get my associates, go into the fire department like my dad and my grandfather. And when I got an opportunity to get into the steamfitters union, I'm like, oh, these guys are making bank. Yeah, let me go that route. What wound up happening is that I entered the workforce, and you want to talk about a reality check, dude. I was not in Kansas anymore. Like I'm around roughnecks, blue collar, heavy drinking, big tough dudes, slinging pipe all day. And it was great, but I recognized like the culture there had a lot to do with drinking, had a lot to do with just like very negative attitudes a lot. They hate their wives, they hate their lives, they can't wait to retire, this, that. And I had FOMO big time. I'm like, I could be in school right now instead of doing this shit, and I wanted to get the college experience without really having to do the work. So every weekend, dude, I was not home every weekend. I was up in Albany. I was in Lafayette. I was, wherever. And I had my own social circles in colleges that I didn't even attend.
Dude, my friends at Albany thought you went there.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, is that not insane?
Dude, they thought you were a student at Albany because you were there so much.
I should have got a degree. Dude, I'm going to write the chancellor right now and see if I can get an honorary degree. Even in Lafayette, dude, it was crazy.
Yo, where's Rokee this weekend?
Yeah, where's Rokee this weekend?
He's back in his home life. Like, what do you got?
What do you mean? I'm not going to see him in like Psych 101.
Dude, we saw some crazy shit in Albany.
Albany is a crazy place.
Insane.
Albany is a crazy place.
Downtown Albany, listen, kids are going to school. Kids are walking out of Albany after their degree and completely fine.
Yeah.
I don't advise sending your child to Albany. Downtown, it is another level.
Yeah.
I got myself into a lot of trouble there.
It's a separate country. Downtown Albany is like a completely different country altogether. It's unbelievable. It's wild over there.
I was thinking when I went to Albany, like, oh, upstate New York. It's in the middle of upstate. Cool. It'll be nice. And the campus is. Then you go downtown and it gets hood. Dude, it gets
not a place you want to get caught in.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
So go ahead. You're visiting, you're at the colleges. Wait, can we tell this? Oh, please, can we tell the story about where you disappeared that one night?
I love this story. Okay, so.
But you got to let me take over when you come home to my house.
Go ahead. So. So I went up to visit you and a couple of our other knucklehead friends up there, and we go out to the club downtown somewhere. Again, dude, drinking all night, dude, blackout. I drank to black out. That was my goal. If I didn't black out, dude, like I'm not having a good time. So I remember we're in some club and I'm standing up against the wall, probably because I couldn't hold myself up anymore. And some chick comes up to me and she starts grinding on me. One thing leads to another. She's like, you want to get out of here? It was her and a friend. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, oh, we'll go back to my house. I'm like, sign me up, right? Thinking maybe she's freaking 5 minutes, 10 minutes outside of town. We get on the highway, dude, and we're driving. 15, 30 minutes, 45 minutes goes by. I'm like, where the fuck are you taking me? I swear to God, I thought she was going to just like pull over on the side of the road, take a 9mm out, shoot me and like bury me in some field somewhere, bro. We wind up driving like an hour outside of town, up even further up north. And I walk into her house, and she had a house, and she was like 10 years older than me, cougar, right? And I walk up the stairs, and she's got pictures of all of like her 5 kids up on the wall as I'm prancing into her bedroom, bro. And
all different ethnicities.
Yeah, probably. And whatever, man. We had a wild night, and the next morning, though, I realized that my phone was dead. And she didn't have a charger for the Nextels back then. I didn't know anybody's number.
You lost your phone, dude.
Oh, I lost. Yeah. All
You
right.
lost
Yeah.
it.
I lost it completely.
Yeah, you
Okay.
lost
So
it.
now I'm in the middle of bumfuck USA somewhere. Zero phone. Have no idea where you lived off campus at the time. Didn't have your phone number. I had no idea what was going on. Somehow, some way, by God's grace only, I wound up getting in touch with you. I'm like, you need to I'm telling this girl, I'm like, you need to drop me off, right? So we get the directions. We go back. I walk into the front door, and Kristen Hickey was like, John, what the hell happened? Are you okay? She's like looking at my stomach. I looked down. I had a white t-shirt on. Dude, there was blood all. I'm like, oh my God, I was drunk enough that if I would have got stabbed last night, honestly, I probably wouldn't even remember. So I'm like checking, I'm picking my shirt up. I'm like, checking for stab wounds or something like that. Nothing. I'm like, oh no. I know what happened. I was railing her out all night, dude. She was on the rag. Oh no, dude. It was horrific. But the most horrific part of that whole entire story is that I was 3 sheets to the wind, lost my phone, and all of my friends, you included, were calling the hospitals, were calling the precincts. Like, you guys had no idea where I was, and honestly, I had no idea where I was, and something bad could have happened to me. Thank God that it didn't, and that's just one of the many stories.
Okay, so that was a Sunday. You go home. Now I'm in my house, hanging out, Sunday night, all the friends leave.
Yeah.
You're home now at this point, back on Long Island.
Yeah.
I get a phone call from a number that I don't have stored in my phone. Hi, it's bup. Is your friend John there? I had so much fun last night. I'm like, no, he went home. She's like, do you know how I can get in touch with him? I was like, well, he lost his phone. You know what? I'm going to give you his house phone number.
You dick.
When his mom picks up, be polite and introduce yourself to his mom and then ask for him. She goes, oh, okay. She fucking called your house.
She did.
I got a call from you like 10 minutes later. You're like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, mortified because I get home. My mom's like, oh, how was the weekend up in Albany with your friends? I'm like, oh, it was swell, Mom. We had a fantastic time, Meanwhile, I'm out in like in the boonies. Oh my, it was crazy. So yeah, Kev, I appreciate you that. My mom still remembers that story too.
When she picked up the phone and then she goes, John, so and so's on the phone for you. Did your heart drop?
Dude, it dropped. I'm like, how the hell did this chick get my phone number? Oh, this is incredible.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Did you get chlamydia that weekend?
No, I got without diving into too many raw details. No, I just got some kind of like bacterial infection because
oh my God.
raw dogging on.
No, all right. We're moving on. Okay. So you're constantly visiting colleges.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with you half those times. Jerv was at Lafayette with you half those times. And we were doing every drug under the sun. Where are you at this point? Are you a daily, because you were doing coke then, we were still dabbling with painkillers. Now we had, I think, graduated to Percocets around this time in college.
Yeah, you know what it was? I think I kind of slowed down with the painkillers a bit. But I went to go visit other friends who were at Oneonta one weekend, and I did blow for the first time up there. And dude, that just knocked my socks right off. I'm like, this is incredible. What I thought like perks and Vicodins and stuff like that were awesome. Cocaine is incredible. It took me a year for me to blow through every single penny that I had in my savings account. Just buying cocaine all the time, all the time. And by the time you guys were sophomores, maybe mid end of your sophomore year, I was in rehab for the first time. I got intervention by my parents because my cocaine habit went from, Friday and Saturday nights with the boys and the friends out at the local bar or something like that to, you know, I'm getting it so I could have a party with myself, like locked away in my mother's basement playing Madden until 7 o'clock in the morning. Then I needed a way to calm down, so I started doing benzos and Xanax all the time. So my diet consisted of mostly cocaine and Xanax for a solid year. And I was, I crashed a brand new Lexus that I had.
Can you tell that story?
Yeah,
So you got this job, but like steam fitter's job, but you're making great money at that point.
Yes.
For someone who's 18 years old.
Yep.
And you go and you buy this brand new car. I remember when you got it. Brand new Lexus, beautiful. You go up to Albany, visit me. We do shrooms.
Yeah.
All right, tell the story.
Yeah. So my girlfriend at the time was controlling, to say the least, my high school girlfriend. And I wanted to go up and visit you guys. So I told her that I was going turkey hunting with my grandfather for the weekend. I wasn't going to have my phone, so I'll see you on Sunday when I come back. So I went to go pick up some friends from Oneonta, then came to Albany to spend time with you guys. I was going to drive my friends back to Oneonta early Sunday morning so I can make it back home to keep the lie up with my girlfriend, and everybody win-win situation. Wound up getting mushrooms that Saturday night
In Albany. Do you remember
Drink
the girl?
1,000 beer. Oh, what was her name?
Evelyn.
Yeah.
Got shrooms, yeah.
So we were all banged up on mushrooms and drinking, and I set my alarm. That way we didn't go to bed until 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at 7. Like, all right, guys, we gotta go. We're hopping in the road. The sun isn't even out yet. It's a pitch black dark. I'm like, yo, we gotta get back. I was like scared of this girl and the repercussions. She found out that I was lying to her. And we're halfway back to Oneonta. My buddy's like, oh, we'll take the shortcut route. It'll get us there faster or whatever. All right. As soon as I get on this backcountry windy road, my boy Matt's in the passenger seat, passed out. Justin's in the back seat, passed out. And I'm driving and I'm like passing out. I took a turn too fast. Early morning, a little dew on the road or whatever, and my car just starts skidding. And I hit a couple of deer crossing signs on the side of the road, roll into a ditch. Car is mangled, dude. Absolutely mangled. Both of these guys who I'm driving with didn't even wake up. And I'm sitting there, freaking smoke is coming out of the engine. I'm still drunk, dude, from the night before. I'm still kind of hallucinating from the mushrooms that I ate freaking 8 hours ago. And I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's not a traffic light. There's not anything. I'm in the middle of the country. So I wake the guys up, tell them what happened, get out, assess the damage. The car doesn't even move. It's totaled. 5 minutes later, state trooper pulls up. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. From bad to worse. State trooper pulls up. And he's like, he gets out. He's like, oh my, everybody okay? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, this deer ran across the road and I slammed on the brakes. I skidded out, rolled into the ditch. He's like, yeah, that happens all the time. He's like, hop in the back seat. I'll drive you to the gas station a couple of miles away. And then you could do whatever you got to do. Call a tow truck, do whatever. And we're sitting in this guy's car. And I'm like, there is no way that I don't stink like booze right now. There is no way. And the guy just dropped us off at the gas station. Tow truck driver came, gave us a ride back to Oneonta. I had to make that phone call to my mother, though. Oh, dude, it was horrific. Like, I didn't have a way to get home now. I'm like, Mom, told her the situation. And she's like, all right. She was engaged at the time. She's like, all right, me and Ken will come and pick you up. It's like a 4-hour ride. So I'm sitting in my friend's dorm room. And I'm like, what? now I'm waiting for my mother to come. Everything that just happened, I'm like, my brand new car. Um, I'm up Shit's Creek with no paddle here, and now my mother's got to come and get me from Long Island up to Oneonta. How do we kill the time? You just start taking bong rips, bong rips, bong rips, bong rips. By the time my mom got there, she opened up the door, dude, and she said, I'm like, I couldn't even keep my eyes open by the time she got there. I'm so stoned. It's just picking me and Justin up to go back to Long Island, and the look on her face, she was mortified, mortified. And I'm like, wow, man, the hurt in my mom's eyes to know that she's like coming to bail me out of a situation that I got myself into like that. And the way that I thanked her was just getting blitzed to the nine. Like, thanks, mom. Here I am, high as a kite because I crashed my car because I was doing mushrooms and drank 1,000 beers over the weekend.
Mm.
Yeah, it wasn't shortly after that I wound up in rehab.
Okay, so you go to rehab. This is your first introduction to any kind of recovery program. You're what, 19, 20?
Yeah, 19.
Okay, 19 years old. What was that experience like?
I didn't belong there. I didn't belong there. I was angry still, dude. A very angry kid. I was a very angry kid. And when I had counselors and stuff like that tell me that I was angry, my rebuttal was always, I'm not fucking angry. Just like, I'm not fucking angry. I didn't know where that anger was coming from. But I realized when I was in rehab that, the people who were there, they needed to be there. They were fucked up, man. Their lives were in shambles. I was just a kid. I admitted and took accountability for things getting a little too out of control. Right? I was sniffing cocaine. I was addicted to blow, and I recognize that. So, I'm like, I'm not going to subscribe to the program that they're preaching in rehab because I'm not an addict. I'm not an alcoholic. I took it too far. I had a little rehab romance in there while I was in there. They found out after 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks that I was in there, they gave me the boot. They dropped me off. I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They dropped me off at the bus depot, gave me like $20 or something like that. And they're like, good luck, kid. Like find your way home. My parents were none too pleased with me getting the boot. And I'm like, listen, I'm good. I learned everything that I needed to know. I detox myself from all the stuff. As long as I don't do Coke or Xanax, I'm in the clear. So I get back home and, I kept my nose clean for a while, but I wasn't even 21 yet. How dare you tell me that I'm an addict and I can't have another beer for the rest of my life? I'm not even 21 yet. Go scratch your ass, dude. Like, I don't subscribe to that. So, we were all heavy hitters, especially when my friends were coming home again or for the summers. There was no way that I wasn't going to partake. And I was a blackout drinker. I drank to black out. And if I did, I loved waking up the next day, not really remembering how the night ended, and then waking up and getting text messages or phone calls from my friends being like, remember what you did last night? Remember what happened? Like, oh, you don't remember that? Dude, and we're laughing, going back and forth. It was like, it became a thing.
Yes.
For me.
Yes.
It became a thing. And I'm like, oh, well, again, this is how I get accepted by other people.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I belong. If John doesn't bring stories or like, the fucked up things that he did last night that people find hilarious, then who am I really? I don't have any belonging. There's no identity there for me outside of like the things that I bring to the table on a Friday and Saturday night. I not doing coke and stuff like that anymore. But then, especially during the summers, we had Thursday nights were big, Friday, Saturday, obviously. Sundays we're out in the Hamptons going to the Bordy Barn and Neptunes and all that other kind of stuff. Monday night was lifeguard night. I was drinking, literally getting blacked out 5 days a week now for months on end. And, I kind of grew out of that because just alcohol wasn't taking to my system as good as it used to. I was getting a little older or whatever. But yeah, I just saw how that tendency to just go overboard never left. I just didn't learn. I didn't learn.
Yeah. So it's funny because I'm thinking back during this time, and I remember you disappeared for a minute, and there were whispers, and I didn't want to ask you directly. I never even knew that you went to rehab. I knew that you were like seeking something out, but we never really discussed it. But you stopped doing coke, but you didn't skip a beat when it came to the drinking.
No.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And coming home, and you were always there, dude. We were all
hanging and banging, dude. We were having a great time.
Yeah.
Having a great time.
So college. You didn't even go to college.
I didn't even go to college.
So college goes on.
Yeah.
No. All right. So you're 20. You're drinking now. When do painkillers come back into the mix? Because I feel like for you, this was the time where then you're like, fuck coke, I'll integrate the opiates.
Probably just a couple of years after I got out of rehab again. I was still in apprenticeship school. So 19 to 24, I was in apprenticeship school, maybe 23. Again, like I sought out the people who reflected my values at the time. So I hung around with the guys who sat all the way in the back of the class. This one guy, Brian, used to bring a fanny pack with him every single time that we were in school. A fanny pack that when he took it off and shake it around, it sounded like a maraca because it was just filled with pills. And, I like those kind of people. They were on my level. I wanted to party, dude. I wanted to get down. And that's when I kind of got introduced to the pills again. I think at 24 was the first time that I did an OxyContin. And I was at school with a couple of my, dirtbag friends then. And I'll never forget the first time that I did Oxys. We were in my car at lunch break. And, there was no eating OxyContins. They showed me how to do it. You lick the coating off, you crush it up, you take a little sniff.
A big sniff.
A big sniff. My tolerance wasn't very high back then, so I did what I did, and dude, when it was time to go back in, I couldn't even speak. Dude. Like I had to get helped back in, and that ride home, like I was throwing up on the ride home. My boy who was going to who I was driving with, like made me drive. So now I'm on the Long Island Expressway, like nodding out, throwing up out of the side of the car, like in bumper to bumper traffic on the expressway. And, they're like, oh, just keep doing it. And that feeling will go away. 'Cause I didn't want to do it ever again. I swore it off that day. They're like, oh, just keep on doing it. And that nauseous feeling, you'll stop throwing up and you'll actually enjoy it. I actually listened. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll keep doing it. And the Oxys was just the gateway, man. It was the gateway.
OxyContin, the first time I did it, I had the same experience. I was throwing up, but it's crazy because I started throwing up, and then once I was done throwing up, then it settled in, and I got that warm blanket high.
Yeah.
And that, I had done Vicodin, I'd done Percocet, and then when I did a real OxyContin, it was an Oxy 40. I was like, this is it. This is it's heroin in a pill.
Yep.
It's pure, clean heroin in a pill.
Literally.
And I remember saying to myself, this is how I want to feel for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
I want to feel like this every day, all day for the rest of my life. Yep. And then it went on to 80s and But you were sharing this with me the other night, and I want to talk about this because, you and I, we did a lot of drinking, we did a lot of drugs, different types of drugs, mixing this with that.
Oh, yeah.
You talked to me about, and this hit home for me, and I'd love for you to talk about it. We were at the bar, Mulcahy's, one night in Wantagh, Long Island.
Yeah.
And you were there one night. And I think you were doing maybe oxys and drinking, and you hit, like, it's like the elixir, like this perfect drunk high, and you hit it.
Yeah.
And then you started chasing that feeling forever.
Yeah.
Talk about that day.
Yeah.
What had happened?
We were out Saturday night.
Early 20s?
Early 20s, yeah.
Yep.
23, 24, whatever. And my blood alcohol count was like perfect. Anybody listening knows what that sweet spot feels like. And I'll never forget thinking to myself, I wish that I could feel like this for the rest of my life. Just exactly what you said. I was funny, I was charismatic, I wasn't insecure. I would be able to approach a woman. I would dance like nobody's watching. That's the way that I wanted to feel all day, every day. And coincidentally, that night is something that I still remember too, is that I approached some girl and started hitting on her, flirting with her or whatever. And she denied me, whatever. I turn around and overhear her talking to her friends as soon as I turn around. And she's like, yeah, he's cute, but he's just way too skinny for me. Dude, kick, gut punch, And again, it was just more confirmation that if I need to look a certain way in order to like be accepted, like people will want me if I look a certain way. That who I am inherently as a person just isn't good enough. It's just not good enough. And couple that with the feeling that I got when I hit the sweet spot on my blood alcohol level. I'm like, this is how we achieve that. This is how we achieve that. And even if I don't achieve that out in the real world, at least I know that these substances, this drink, this pill or whatever, can give that to me if I'm alone. And that's all I really wanted, is to really feel that deep down inside that I'm worthy of being accepted by anybody just for who I am. And I never felt that way about myself, dude. I didn't. But when I had a couple of drinks in me and I hit that sweet spot or whatever, I'm like, oh, there's the real me. There's the real me without the fear, without the uncertainty and the fear of abandonment and what people are going to think about me. That's the real John. And I was only able to access that through substances.
Yeah. Do you remember the night we were at Mulcahy's? It may have been that night. And we ended up, Frank got thrown out.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went out with him.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, Frank. It's all good. It's all good to be friends.
Yeah.
Then all the bouncers came out. And we were not the aggressors.
Mm-hmm.
Frank got thrown out. We went with him. Like, calm down. We'll leave. And then the bouncers followed us across the street into the parking lot. And we're like, yo, let's throw down.
I remember that. I didn't partake.
I know you stayed inside.
I stayed inside. So what happened with me? What my thing is that when my blood alcohol went over a 1.0, I would just get lost. Dude, I'm lost. I'm bouncing around, bebopping around, bumming cigarettes from everybody.
You didn't intentionally.
I didn't intentionally
you were just
do
lost.
It. But even if I did know that you guys were going outside, I'm a pussy, dude. I don't give a shit. I'm not fighting anybody. And what wound up happening is that the kids that you guys fought were like world-class grapplers, dude.
I know.
Everybody got their ass
like,
handed to them.
Not me.
No, not you.
I cheated though.
Yeah,
I picked up the biggest fucking rock I could find, and I went up to the biggest motherfucker and fucking hit him in the head with it, dude. But that's pure insanity, because that guy could have fucking died.
Yeah,
I took out my one-on-one. The rest of us, I can't speak for.
Yeah.
But these kids were fucking good fighters.
Yeah.
One of them was like a ninja. Dude, he was like fucking throwing spinning fucking roundhouse kicks.
Dude.
He picked someone up and threw them right on their head.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. Bro, I was 135 pounds back in the day. These kids could have grabbed me with one arm and tossed me halfway across the parking lot. I knew my place. My place was inside the bar with a gin and tonic in my hand or a Heineken or something like that. Leave me be.
Yeah. Okay, so you go on. You are now in the apprenticeship program for the steamfitters. You graduate.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing Oxy-80s. I'm home from school. I remember this. We were all doing Oxy-80s. We were getting them. They were plentiful. This is when OxyContin was like, pill mills were a thing. We were getting them from Florida. They were coming up into New York. People were running them up. It was insanity.
Yeah.
And it was like, we were getting them so cheap too.
So cheap.
It was insane. And I just this is where I feel like all of us kind of went into our own little. We were all still hanging out, but it was for drug purposes only. But like things got dark.
Yeah.
Things got dark.
Yeah.
And we weren't hanging out like the good old times. Like, yeah, we black out. And then the next day we're like, yo, what the fuck did you do last?
Yeah.
No, it was like every man for them fucking selves.
Pretty much.
That's at least how I was.
Yeah.
I was a fucking dirtbag.
Oh.
And every man for themselves.
Mhm.
What happens from there? You're doing, let's go. This is probably 2008, 2009, 2010. When do you graduate to heroin?
I mean, the pill thing, dude, I rode that train until the wheels fell off, man. There was a couple of instances of, junkies doing junkie things, shooting up pharmacies because they wouldn't refill a prescription or something like that. And once that really started coming to light, legislators and the government, police really found out and the public found out just how bad the oxys were getting in the neighborhood. So they started cracking down on the oxys. So simple supply and demand economics. What used to cost $40 for a pill, Oxy 80s back in the day, were now 50 and 60, or you couldn't get them anymore. Roxy's came around shortly thereafter, and the same thing with that, man. They started cracking down. And God bless them, they were doing the right thing. But it started to become economically unfeasible to keep the habit that I had up with the money that I was making at the time. And I was making good money, dude. I was pulling in, taking home $1,600 a week. And I would get paid on a Wednesday and be broke by Saturday, Sunday, the latest. And then have to scratch and claw, steal, manipulate my way into getting a couple of bucks just to get myself by until payday again, without dying from withdrawals. So again, with a couple of my friends that I worked with, we were in a bind one day, and one kid knew somebody who had dope, and yeah, I'm just like, nah, man, I've done a lot of shit in my life, but heroin, the idea that I had about heroin was needle in the arm, laying in an alley somewhere, homeless guy, like that was the idea that I had of heroin. It was like the bottom of the barrel dirtbag drug to do. But I was fiending so hard, dude, that I allowed them to convince me that it's the same thing as oxys. And I did one bag. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel any different. Let me do another one or two, whatever. And I got high, and I'm like, wow, this is exactly like oxys. Within the matter of 10 minutes, dude, every single judgment that I had about heroin just went right out the window. And it was pennies on the dollar. I was getting so much more bang for my buck than oxys. That was it. That was it. It was a dollars and cents move for me. But where heroin led me to were neighborhoods that I would never go to, were with people who I would never hang around. At least with the pills, at least back in the day, like we had friends who doctored up some MRIs and whatever. And, you would go to a doctor, go to the pharmacy, and you're back home. Like that was it.
We weren't going into hoods. We weren't going
There was none of that.
We were dealing with people we knew and not even leaving our town.
Right.
For
the most part.
For the most part.
And you wanted to, like, everybody's getting it from a doctor. Like you're not dealing with the dregs of the universe 99% of the time.
Unless it was Tom and Marcy.
Unless it was Tom and Marcy.
Bro, we had, all right, so for the audience, there was this lady that our friend made friends with, and this lady would get a script of Oxy 80s and sell them to our friend, and then we would get them through our friend. But this lady was, I mean, I hope she's doing okay now, but like she had sniffed so much coke, her whole nose was gone.
She looked like Skeletor, dude. Like there was no nose. It was just two holes.
It was just two holes and like flat here. And you can, if you go up close enough to her, you can see into like the nasal cavity, into like the back of the throat. It was like fucked up.
Yeah.
And we used to go there, bring her coke, and then she would give us oxys.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the extent with the pills.
Right.
Which was still in our town. But.
Yeah, true.
So go ahead. So heroin, take us through some of what had happened. Like, where was it bringing you? What towns? What neighborhoods?
I met a guy who was in my apprenticeship class, so he was a steamfitter as well. Stand up guy, and God rest his soul because he passed on. He passed away from COVID, but a really really good dude with a problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you know, him and I became really good friends over the years, and he lived in Queens. And it was a nice part of Queens. Don't get me wrong, Italian neighborhood for the most part. It was a nice part of Queens. And he introduced me to his guy after a while because he was playing middleman and I was hitting him up all the time, taking the freaking hour-long drive on the Belt Parkway into Queens and then coming all the way back. And he got sick and tired of dealing with me because he had a wife and kids. So he's like, dude, I can't like be servicing you all the time. Like, I'm just doing you a favor. I'm going to put you on to my guy. And this guy lived in a little bit of a sketchier part of Queens. Italian kid, still like stand up dude. Honestly, he was a nice guy.
Stand up dude, but he was
stand up dude.
He was a heroin dealer.
He was a heroin dealer, but he treated me all right. You know, he took care of me. But you know, I got to a point in my youth, dude, where come hell or high water, I would do anything, bro. Anything. To go and you know, sniff 20 bags of dope, bro. I would do anything. And you know, I'll never forget this story. I'll tell a quick war story. My sister, who's 2 years younger than me, she has a summer birthday. So what we used to do was we used to rent out a racetrack side like patio area at Belmont Park. And we were drinking all day long, dude. Coolers, we had the party bus drop us off, nobody's driving, whatever. Her boyfriend at the time lived in Old Westbury, which is a very big money neighborhood. So we're drinking all day for my sister's birthday. We go back to her boyfriend's house. There's 100 people in the backyard, which could easily accommodate another couple hundred more. Drinking all night. And it wasn't enough. I must have drank 40 beers throughout the day. And I call my guy up in Queens and I'm like, I'm coming to see you. It's 3:00 in the morning. Saturday night. Why do I need to get heroin after I've been drinking all day long? Don't know why, but I needed it. So now I'm driving into Queens and I can't even stay in between the lines, man. I cannot. It's the middle of summer. I got all my windows down. The radio is turned up to as high volume as it possibly could get just to keep me awake.
Oh, God.
And I must have missed a turn, the exit to get off. And I'm just going straight. And before you know it, I get off at some exit. I'm in the middle of Brooklyn, dude. The middle of the hood in Brooklyn. And I'm going down these side streets. There was no GPS in my car or whatever at that time or something like that. Or if it was, I couldn't even see the screen to read it. And I'm driving down these residential neighborhoods in the hood. I'm side-swiping cars for blocks at a time. Taking people's side view mirrors off their cars. I'm like playing bumper cars in the street. I'm like, dude, you need to pull over and just take a nap before somebody comes out. They're going to shoot you. The cops are going to get you. So, like something really bad is going to happen. I'm going to run somebody over. I park like right across the street from some like lounge or something. The lounge closes down. There's people pouring out into the streets. So who's fighting in the middle of the street? I'm sitting with my seat all the way back reclined, just hoping somebody doesn't see me because I'm a sitting duck, like ossified in my car. I wound up taking like, nothing happened, but I wound up taking like an hour nap and I still made it to my destination. Like I didn't even think, go home. Nobody caught you. You got away scot-free. Just go home. Take your win and leave the table. I got my shit and then I went back home. It was things like that, dude, where I could not have it on me. I was working at Rikers Island at one point doing steam fitting work, and I was smuggling heroin into Rikers Island for the day. Past dogs, past guards, past metal detectors, past everything, just so I know that I was well enough to actually perform my job for the day. Imagine getting caught trying to smuggle dope into Riker. Dude, like the insanity behind it was absolutely profound.
How would you hide it? Because I actually used to bring an AA meeting when the first year I got sober. I used to go into Rikers Island, so I would go through.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I would go through like the security, and it's tight security, dude. How would you get it through?
Just hide it in my underwear. I'll just hide it in my underwear. But because after a while you get to know the guards and you get to know these people or whatever, they're not like patting you down,
Yeah.
So I
Just
would
no guns.
just yeah, as long as you're not bringing weapons in or
Metal
whatever,
detector.
metal detectors,
God.
you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
But again, my whole entire drug use lifestyle, dude, was nothing short of constantly being hyper vigilant and in survival mode. Because I could get caught at any time. I could get and that I always had my eyes on a swivel. My neck was on a swivel. Where are the cops? Where are the cops? Where are the cops? Like nothing about it was calming. So my nervous system was just shot until I got the drugs in my system, and then I'm like, oh, you feel that weight just get lifted off. And honestly, pull me over now. I don't give a shit. Lock me up, throw me away, whatever. Because I feel so good right now that I don't even care. Mm.
So, how long after that until you started going into Brooklyn?
Yeah.
That's when things got dark.
A couple of years. My late 20s.
Okay. Were you ever arrested in Brooklyn?
No, not in Brooklyn, but I started getting arrested in Queens.
What was your first arrest?
Very first.
Well, the one.
Oh, with that,
Give us one. Yeah.
Probably
I'm getting
like
to a story. I want you to tell
yeah.
the story about the you were going to your dealers or something like that, and the cops, the DTs or whatever.
Yeah.
Tell what had happened that
Yeah,
day.
so I was dating this girl at the time who lived in Phoenix, Arizona. And I couldn't go out there without having a stash on me. I needed something. So I you can't bring dope with you into the airport. Like that's a no bueno. The dogs will sniff you out, like you're screwed. That's federal. I'm not doing that kind of time. So I went into Brooklyn with my buddy who put me on to his drug dealer, another friend of his who was able to get methadones. This kid was a crackhead, dude. Crackhead. I didn't trust him as far as I could throw him, but if he had access to somebody in Brooklyn who could get me 100 dones, I'm going to take the chance and get the 100 dones. So
Let's ride.
Let's ride, right? I did not feel from the jump. I did not feel good about this kid, the situation, whatever. So we get into Brooklyn, and long story short, we're waiting there for like 2.5 hours in the middle of Metropolitan Avenue, dude. Like wide out in the open, broad daylight, just sitting there, two fiends in an Acura waiting for their dealer to come, stuck out like sore thumbs. The kid finally gets a call from this dude. He walks around the block. 20 minutes goes by. His phone died, of course, goes right to voicemail. And before you know it, I look over to my left, and there's a dude plain clothes narc with like the badge hanging from his neck come out of the car. He's like, fuck, man. We nabbed your boys up around the block. I didn't have anything on me. So I thought that I was in the clear. So they start ripping my car apart, dude. They go into the center console, and I had a straw from like 4 years ago that still had like oxy dust in it. And they arrested me because there was residue of paraphernalia or something like that or whatever. So I'm in the holding cell with these other two dirtbags, this guy from Brooklyn I just meet. I'm sitting in the cell and I'm going through withdrawal like big time, hurting. And I'm looking at this guy from Brooklyn. It was like a Puerto Rican guy or something like that. And he's got a bag hanging from the side of him. And it's like filling up with piss. And I'm like, what is this, dude? And he's like, yeah. I got shot in the stomach like two years ago or something like that. And now I got a colostomy bag. Like that's what it is. I never seen that or heard of it before. And I'm like, this is where my life has taken me, right? To a random jail cell in Queens with a guy who's got a piss bag hanging off the side of him that I got to stare at while I'm going through withdrawal. I didn't picture this when I wrote my 5th grade report of where I wanted to see myself in 20 years. Like this wasn't on my bingo card. They reward us. We get out, and we get back to this guy's car, and he pops the trunk, and there's 2 loaded 9mm in the back of the trunk and a bag of methadones. And the guy looks at me. I look at him, and he's like, Good thing they didn't check the trunk, huh? And I'm like, yeah, good thing they didn't check the trunk for your sake. Like I would, that had nothing to do with me. But I'm like, these are the people who I'm now like getting heavily involved with, and I don't want anybody. He threw me like a handful of dones for nothing for the inconvenience that he caused me, which I was happy about. But like this was where my life was leading to.
Okay, so you get arrested. Now, there was some repercussions where you were being drug tested, right? Did you violate, or what had happened? How did you get put on probation?
Yeah, so that arrest that I just told you about was one of 3 that I got in like an 8-month clip. I was working at Rikers Island at the time, and it was around this time where I was like, I'm done. I am done with this drug game, with the dope game. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired all the time. I'm sick of playing this game of, it's a second job, man, trying to get high all the time. It's a second job.
You're 28, 29, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was doing a job at Rikers Island. I got a job done early from my boss. And my boss rewarded me with a $3,000 in cash. He's like, dude, you killed it on this one. Thank you so much. He rewarded me with $3,000. That morning, I went into Queens to my boy's house and picked up 150 methadones because I'm like, I am done. And this is where I'm starting. I'm going to wean myself off. This is going to last me 6 months. I'm not going to have to do dope for 6 months. I'll figure it out later. But I was determined because I was dating this girl. Things were going serious. That I didn't want to be that guy for her or myself anymore. But I got this wad of cash with me. And I'm like, one more time, I'm going to go out with a bang. So I called my drug dealer up, the guy who lives in Queens. I was like, dude, I want 2 sleeves of dope. That's 20 bundles, 200 bags of heroin. And I got a jug of methadones in my center console. So he's like, first time ever, come to my house. All right. So I go to his house, whatever. It's not the nicest part of the neighborhood. I park around the block. I do all the things, whatever. I walk into his house. I grab the shit. I do like 15 bags before I even left his house. Feeling good, dude. I'm like, oh, my new life is going to start. But first, I'm going to go out with a bang. I got a wad full of cash in my pocket. And I'm walking down the block, dude. And I see the DTs just sliding up the block. And I'm like, fuck, man. They move on, they go, they make a right turn, and now I'm like, you got to get out of here fast. So I sprint to my car, jump in the car, throw the thing in drive, and before I was even able to turn my wheel out of the parking spot, dude, those same DTs are standing right next to me, window down, Jamaican guy in the passenger seat, Puerto Rican guy in front and driving, and they're both just staring at me, dude, with this look. And I'm like, I'm fucked. I knew it immediately. They start giving me the 3rd degree. Where are you from? Why are you here? Why you're over here? You're from Long Island. Blah, blah, blah. I'm seeing a friend. They didn't buy it. They found all my shit. They found all my shit. It was 150 methadones in a huge jug with 200 bags of heroin. And they got me on felony and possession with intent to sell because it was just so much that they didn't believe that it was all for me. And by weight, how they do it in New York, it's by weight. So they'll charge you with a felony based on like how much all your stuff actually weighs out. So regardless if they bought my story or not, just by weight, they weren't able to just, hold me on a misdemeanor or whatever. It was all felony. So that's how I got put on probation. I spent the weekend in Queens Central Booking. The cat was kind of out of the bag at that point because I spent a whole weekend in jail. My parents, girl I was dating, now it started to become a problem. It became a problem because people were finding out about it. Now I was getting arrested. So they put me on probation. I had to go pee in a cup for a couple of different agencies. One of the court orders was that I had to go to court mandated outpatient. And I've been to this outpatient a bunch of times before, like in the past throughout my 20s and stuff, to no avail. And my addict thinking was that I still want to get high. And well, if I have to pee in a cup on Thursday for these people, Wednesday for this person, whatever, that means I could get high, you know, Saturday, Sunday. And, you know, if I do a bunch of detox shakes, I buy a couple from GNC, I'll be able to weasel my way and pass all these piss tests, and then I could get high again over the weekend. And dude, I was doing this for months, months. And I was working at the Port Authority bus terminal on 42nd Street in Manhattan, and they had a GNC there. So every single day that I knew that I had to go pee in a cup for somebody, I'd go spend $200 in GNC and, you know, take all these detox drinks, fast all day long and do nothing but drink water so I could flush my system out. It worked every single time, dude. Every single time until it didn't. And one day I had a back-to-backer. I had to go pee for probation and pee for the outpatient program. So I fasted all day long, gallons and gallons and gallons upon water, detox shakes and pills from GNC. I make it to the 8 o'clock meeting for outpatient. And when the meeting was over, I don't remember this whole day. This is all eyewitness accounts of what happened. But the meeting was over and I was standing next to the coffee machine and I had my back up against the wall and I was talking to a counselor before I was about to leave. And my skin turned as white as my shirt. My eyes just rolled back and I just slumped down the wall and started convulsing on the floor. And I wound up having a grand mal seizure right there on the floor of the outpatient.
They call an ambulance. An ambulance comes. You go to the hospital. What happens next?
I was in a coma for a week. And I remember opening my eyes for the first time and it was dark. It was like nighttime. And I thought that I was dreaming because when I opened my eyes, I saw that I was in a hospital room. But I thought I was just dreaming. So I kind of like shut my eyes or whatever. And I woke up the next morning and I was still in the same place. I start looking around, scanning my horizons, and like my parents are there, and you know my wife was there. I was married at the time. At this point, my wife was there. I had a priest right next to me, dude. You know, the long and the short of it is that I depleted the electrolytes and the salt out of my system so much that it actually, I forget what the clinical term for it is, but I overdosed on water. When I had that seizure, I didn't do drugs for like 3 days prior, even though it still showed up in my system when they did the blood test, like while I was laying there in the bed. So they didn't know what it actually was, but for the severity of the condition that I was in, they gave my parents two options. Either the kid's going to die, or when he does wake up and come to, he's going to have brain damage to the point that you're going to have to look after him for the rest of his life. Like he's going to be in a vegetative state. And the priest who was next to me was like reading my last rites. Like that was to the point that it was. And it's nothing short of a miracle, dude. Like God worked his mighty hand and woke me up. And 2 days later, I was on a bus to rehab as if nothing ever happened, bro.
Were you put on life support while you were in the coma or no?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But from how they were monitoring my brain activity was so low, that was the synopsis that they came to. It
Like
was
brain
just
dead, maybe.
like brain dead.
Oh, and then in New York State, they pull the plug. If
Yeah.
you're brain dead,
Yeah.
they let you say your goodbyes.
Yeah.
And then they pull the plug.
Yeah.
You were so lucky to be here.
Blessed, dude. Not even luck. It's not even luck. Like blessed.
So you go to rehab
Mm-hmm.
and you don't end up using for 11 years. Well, still to this day.
Yep.
12. It's 12 years ago. It was. It's 2014.
2004 to September of this year will be 12 years. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Now I know that there was some drinking since then, but
Yeah.
dude, I want to commend you really quick. I want to just pause.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
And I commend you because a lot of people on this show that I go to meetings with, they have that. They get out, they go get high again.
Mm-hmm.
This changed. This was an intervention from God. And
Undoubtedly.
God chose to keep you alive.
Mm-hmm.
And you recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to rehab. You get out 30 days?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go into rehab for 30 days. You get out. Now, remember, you were going to meetings for a little bit in the beginning there.
Yeah.
What was that like in the beginning after going through such a traumatic experience?
Oh, man, dude. I got out of rehab. I missed a felony court date while I was laid up in a hospital.
Do they let you slide?
I had to do all the right things, dude. I had zero wiggle room, or else I was going to wind up in Rikers. So I do not belong in Rikers back then. Now, like at no point in my life do I belong in Rikers. So
actually, really quick question. So they let you. That was your last straw, but you didn't overdose on drugs. It was dehydration from water.
Yep.
So did they know that like you were trying to beat a piss test, or
they didn't know what the seizure was caused from to begin with.
Got it.
They never found. They're like, the doctors came in and told me, they're like, I've never seen somebody seize from opiates. Because all they did was take a blood test and look at the toxicology report from the blood test and saw that I had opiates in my system. And they're like, well, this has got to be it. But I told the doctors about the detox shakes, like maybe something was in it, some herbs or something like that or whatever. It wasn't until, honestly, bro, 2 years ago that I figured out what it was actually from.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're going to meetings. Like, what's keeping you? That urge to use to opiates is strong. It really is.
Bro, let me tell you something. When I left the hospital, the urge to do drugs was gone. I swear, I told my dad, I'll never forget, I'm standing outside the hospital waiting for the rehab van to pick me up. I'm smoking a cigarette, talking to my father, and I'm like, I will never do drugs again. That was it. Dude, I don't know, man. Maybe something rewired in my brain while I was seized up or whatever. I detoxed while I was in a coma, so it's not even like I was going through withdrawals anymore. I hit a rock bottom that I pray nobody ever has to hit before they decide to make a change for themselves. There was no deeper bottom that I could dig myself to. I was literally knocking at the pearly gates, and for me to go back out, I know it's selfish of me to say because I know so many people who have gone back out after experiences like that, and I'm not like speaking bad on any of those people. But for me, I'm like, if I waste this opportunity, I'm a fucking knucklehead. And, I had too much to live for at the time. And, I was facing jail time. My wife was going to divorce me. Like the cat was out of the bed. Now everybody knew my reputation was shot. So I didn't really have I really didn't have a choice other than to just stay clean. That was it for me, bro.
Yeah, you had no choice.
What was it? I knew exactly where I was going to end up, man. Like there were jails, institutions, and death, right? Like I've been through all three, literally experienced all three of them.
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
There was nothing left for me, bro, except death.
Where were you financially in 2014 at your bottom?
Dude, I was behind the 8 ball. When I got all my shit together, I was over $100,000 in debt. I didn't have a penny to my name, dude.
Was that including or excluding the IRS?
That was strictly the IRS. That was only the IRS. That was only the IRS. I did the calculations a couple of months ago for shits and giggles because I wanted to suffer, I guess, that day. I did the calculations of just how much liquid money I've spent on drugs over the years, and that was to the tune of over 1.2 million cash.
I believe it.
I drained every union fund that I've had, which was probably a couple of $100,000. Just all the money that I've made working. I was steady employed because I was good at what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Blew through all of that cash. Every dollar that I've saved up, credit cards maxed out, dude, you name it. I was going to different banks at one point and taking out like small like personal loans from like 5 different banks to the tune of maybe $10,000-$15,000 a pop. So I owed them all that money, 50, 60 grand. Dude, I was beyond broke.
What was your credit like?
I don't even think I had a credit score. Dude, to be honest, I don't even think I had a credit score. I didn't have a bank account for like 6 years prior to that because I didn't have any money in it.
Mm.
No, I was getting my check cashed every single week from all these like check cashing places. I had nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so you, over those 11 years, you straighten up financially.
Mm-hmm.
You get payment plans, and I remember you walking me through this.
Yeah,
I respect it.
Yeah.
Payment plans, because we also, and I'm saying this because when we first get clean and sober, oh, bro, I was a fucking disaster financially when I got sober. And oh my God. Anyway, so it's overwhelming when you first get sober. And I've also gotten sober and been like, I'm in all this debt. Fuck it. I'm just going to continue to use. And the shame and the guilt just compounds. Right. So for you to be in the situation that you were in, you set up a whole structured payment plan that at least got you to a point where you could sleep at night.
Yeah.
And made you feel comfortable, brought your anxiety down, enabled you now to put sobriety first, or at least abstinence from drugs, get clean, and focus on that, because our focus we're thinkers, we're big thinkers, and we go down these rabbit holes and shit gets really crazy and real dark quick. So what did that do for you? And not only with finances too, just like the relationships, I mean, I know your family very well, the relationship that you have built with your mom and your dad and your sister, they're all so fucking proud of you and who you've become from where you were 12 years ago.
Yeah.
How did you start with the finances and talk about also how you rebuilt those relationships with your family through living amends, through continuing to do the right thing?
Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's a living amends, right? I continually had to show up and prove myself to myself and to others every single day. Because over the course of the last decade, my word wasn't worth a shit. So I needed people to keep me accountable for my actions. So I mean, with the IRS thing, with the finances, I knew that I wasn't doing drugs again, and it didn't take long to recognize that I was actually trustworthy with money once I wasn't spending it on stupid stuff. I set up the payment plans for the IRS, got a bank account again, all these little steps that actually made me feel as if I was human. They made me feel like I was human and not just a scumbag living in robot mode. As far as the relationships are concerned, because the finances were easy, the relationships were the hard part. Is that shortly after coming out of the sober house that I had to stay at for like 3 months, and I wasn't allowed to leave the state for a certain amount of time. My wife, who I was married to, she lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I got divorced over that. I couldn't go anywhere. So the guilt that I carried for that, the guilt that I carried knowing that I stole so much from my mother, not only materially, but emotionally and physically, mentally, that I drained from her. God bless that woman, man, because she's a saint for how much she tolerated of my bullshit for so long. But I owed it to the people who I hurt the most to start to become the best version of myself that I didn't even know what that looked like. But I knew that I needed to head down a path in order to prove myself worthy of forgiveness.
Hmm. Okay, so you build this life back. Now, I want to say 2016, 2017, you and I start hanging out again.
Mm-hmm.
And like we become close. It's crazy because I'd originally gotten sober in 2013 and I stayed sober for about 3.5 years, had shoulder surgery. Then I went out and I was like kind of back and forth for about a year and 3 months. And that was, I think, the end of 2016 till I got sober February 2018. But like we became friends again when I was sober at the time. Then I kind of went out, but we were still friends. And like you were doing the right thing. And like the rest of our friends were doing the right thing. And then I was kind of doing the wrong thing. Then I ended up getting sober again. And then we all became like, tight knit again
Right.
in like 2018. And, let's go back now 14 months ago. You were on, 2 years ago, you go on this healing journey and you really want to expand your spiritual presence, your spiritual connection with life, with other people. And I respect you because a lot of people get abstinent from drugs and alcohol, just drugs, whatever it is. And they put in a little bit of work and then they don't really want to fully heal and get better and become a better person and achieve what they want, achieve the unknown. And you came to the realization and built the awareness to know that you had to make some changes in order to do that.
Yeah.
So take us to about 14 months ago when you make the decision to put alcohol down.
Yeah, I need to. I really need to like add a little onto that before, because when I was going through really, really severe anxiety for a long time, dude. After I got out of the hospital, I had my first panic attack, like my first day that I was in rehab, and it felt as if I was on an every other day or every day basis of multiple panic attacks a day for years straight. When I got sober, I did meetings for about 2 years and decided that again, God, I got it. Thank you for getting me through this. I don't need this anymore. I'm gonna go back to banging women and stacking money and doing all the things
that
again.
never works out.
Didn't work out. Uh, and it got to a point where my anxiety was so bad, dude. I wanted to kill myself. Like, I wanted to kill myself. I did not see any way out. Between the constant anxiety, my body and my mind were just ravaged. I couldn't be present. There was a point in my time where I literally didn't think that I was physically capable of remembering any new information or learning anything new because my mind was so hijacked with cortisol and adrenaline from constantly being in like panic mode all the time. So in like 2019, I started to go see a therapist. I waved the white flag. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like this is bad news. So I saw a therapist, two different therapists over the course of 3 years, and it helped scratch the surface of behind like some of the things. So I got diagnosed with PTSD. I got diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. 3 of those. I tried meds for like 2 weeks at a clip, a couple of different times. They made it so much worse than it was, and I flushed them down the toilet bowl. I was like, there's got to be another way. There has to be another way. It was at that point, dude, where I was like, I am determined to get to the root. You have to. I needed to heal the root, so all of this other shit, so my life could finally go in the direction that they promised me however ever many years ago in the rooms of AA, a life beyond my wildest dreams. I was not. I was still a prisoner of myself and my mind, and I did not feel as if the life that I was living was beyond my wildest dreams. I wanted to end it after being so grateful not too long prior for getting my life saved to begin with. Where that led me was I started doing deep personal development work and with mentors who were literally world class mentors in personal development. I started getting into somatics and nervous system work through another mentor of mine. Uh, and I gained so much awareness into myself. It was the most liberating, freeing experience that I would not trade a cent that I've spent, an hour that I've read up on and learned about myself and spent time with these people. Um, and my anxiety was like not almost non-existent, but not even remotely close to where it was. So I knew the work was working. So 14 months ago, I knew that there was something like just something wasn't clicking, dude. There was something more. About 6 months prior to 14 months ago, my mentor was really urging me to create a relationship with God. I'm like, oh God, here we go again, man, with this talk. I've been hearing this rhetoric for God knows how long and whatever. And it's I've always had a relationship with God, more foxhole prayers than anything else. Like, God, please get me out of this one as I'm sitting in a jail cell or hurting. Please let my drug dealer call me back in like the next 5 minutes, kind of thing.
Oh, that was my move.
Oh yeah. But it was never actually building a relationship with him. And I started off slow because I started off like using woo woo fluffy terms like the universe and source. And I was big into new age spirituality at the time and learning a lot about Taoism and Hinduism and all this other kind of stuff, which has a lot of beautiful wisdom in it. Excuse me. But I never wanted to say the word God because it was too personal for me. And there was a lot of men who abandoned me in my life. And I'm like, if God abandons me after I put my love and my faith into him, I really have nowhere to go. And it took me a long time to even say the word God. Um, and I started praying, dude, because I felt like there was nothing else that I had left. And I started praying. And during a meditation, you know, I know this sounds a certain kind of way, but um Jesus Christ himself literally like put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You need to go back to AA." And I get goosebumps even just saying that, dude, because it was so profound. And it was an idea that I've been kicking around for a couple of years prior because I was alone, bro. I'm alone when I'm home. And I own a nice little tiny 1 bedroom condo. But I'm alone a majority of the time. And I know I needed community in my life, or else my life was just not going to get better. I was just going to sit and stew in the shit of my own thoughts. Um, and I went back to AA and I walked in there, dude, and was so nervous. My anxiety was ripping. My anxiety was ripping because it was the first act of real, true humility that I've given to myself in a very long time. Knowing that I couldn't do it on my own. I could not live a life beyond my wildest dreams alone anymore. And I needed help. And that was always such a struggle for me to admit. My pride, my ego is gonna, I'll do this. I've been 10 years sober without the help of anybody and whatever. I created an identity around that. And for the first couple of months, I would tell people that I was sober for 11 years. 10 years, 11 years, whatever it was. And they're like, oh, pat me on the back. Like, dude, that is awesome. Uh, until my anxiety started getting worse every single time that I went to a meeting. And I'm like, what is happening here? I needed to fess up. And I had a sponsor, and I didn't tell him any of this. I even kept this from my sponsor at the time. And I felt the need to raise my hand in the back and tell on myself. And I'm like, I drank just a couple of months ago at a company Christmas party. I haven't been sober this whole time. I smoked weed a bunch of times and drank a bunch of times. I've gotten drunk a handful of times. And that the weight of the world was off my shoulders, dude. You're only as sick as your secrets. And I couldn't keep that secret in anymore. And my life just fucking skyrocketed after that.
Dude, that is a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I remember when you called me.
I asked you for advice. Yeah.
You called me and you're like, dude, is sober I'm saying I'm sober, but I drank. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I've seen you drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to be like as gentle as possible. You
Yeah.
know, you don't want to just give your, and I
Yeah.
just said, hey, man, like, by the 12-step program that I go to, no, it's not sober. And you're like, got it.
Mm.
But you already knew what you needed to do.
I knew it.
You just knew it. Dude, you're a smart guy. You're aware. You knew exactly what needed to be
I
done.
had such an attachment to that sober date.
Yeah.
I had such an attachment to that. And I still celebrate that day because I haven't done hard drugs since then.
100%. And you should.
And I should. And I do. But I felt so guilty. Like I just didn't want to go back to like day one again. I just didn't want to do it. My pride was so strong. I'm like, I just don't want to do it. I'm not like one of these off the street junkies or whatever who come to AA and their life is in shambles. Like I just need community in my life. So I didn't think that I was like these other people, and I had to stop. I had to stop lying to myself.
Part of community isn't just physically being around another group of people that have the same goal at hand, and that is obviously staying sober,
Yeah.
right? It's honesty.
Mm-hmm.
It's consistency. It's a number of things.
Mhm.
But the point I'm trying to make is it's being honest with those people.
Yeah.
And you did that. Now, okay, you're honest. This was 14 months ago. Talk about over the past 14 months, because you were able to get honest. Was it worth it?
Oh my God, dude. Yes. 1,000,000 times over.
Yeah.
You know what? Because it's not just about being honest with another person. If you can't be honest with yourself, that shame and that guilt comes creeping back in like the floodgates open up. And that was the shit that was going on inside my body. That was the anxiety that I was feeling, is because I knew that I wasn't being honest with myself first and foremost. Where that led me was my sponsor's very, very spiritual human being. And that allowed me to dive deeper into my faith more than what I was doing on my own. And I have to tell you, man, my life doesn't look the way that I would want it to at 41 right now, but I see the gifts that God it continues to bring into my life. My anxiety is almost gone, bro. It's almost gone. And I went from, I still fall back. I still fall back. I'm human, bro. I'm fallible. I go back into old habits and play old loops just like anybody else, right? I will never be 100%. We were talking about this on the way here. I'll never be 100% healed, transcended, awakened, whatever you want to call it. I'll never be that. And I'll never claim to be or portray myself to be something that I'm not, because I'm just a human being. With that being said, though, God's presence in my life has changed me exponentially, has changed me. And I realize that the only responsibility that I have right now in life is to be able to control the things that I know that I can control. And the outcome is up to God. I, in my addict thinking, want to control every single aspect of my life. I want to control everybody's reaction to me. So that means that I'm out there manipulating, wearing masks, performing, and not being genuine at all, because I'm trying to control situations at every single turn. And I realize that God doesn't judge me. And if God doesn't judge me, I don't need to judge myself. And if I'm not judging myself, then I don't care what anybody else thinks about me, because God's got me. And dude, like I've created a relationship. I will say in a very public forum that I've accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And the second that I did that, dude, my life has opened up. My heart has opened up. I'm softer now than I ever was in my life. And I always thought that was a weakness. And I shamed myself for even that because, the circles that I ran in was just a bunch of hard dudes, like no Diddy. But like very strong-willed, hard-hearted dudes.
Yeah.
Who through no fault of their own lacked a lot of internal awareness about themselves or whatever. And I bought into that freely because I wanted to be a part of so bad, and it's through the program and through my relationship with Christ now that I don't have to pretend anymore, bro.
Yeah.
I could cry just thinking about it because I never allowed myself to just be me because I never thought that was good enough for anybody, dude.
I want to add, I have seen the difference over the past 14 months.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I saw a huge difference after the, when you went into the coma,
Mm.
but then I really saw a difference. I saw different phases,
Yeah.
and then the last 14 months, it's just, I'm proud of you. I respect where you're at. I respect what you're doing. And this is also very important, for the listeners, for the people out there that are struggling. You have helped so many people with your coaching, and like you've had so amazing results with people that I know that you coach and have you're doing the deal, and they feel that. And it's not like what you're doing and like your program, you've walked me through it.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people out there coaching just to coach. And I don't want to say necessarily scam people, but like their clients aren't number one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that goes on. And with you, it's not like that. I mean, so for my listeners, I mean, you definitely have my stamp of approval.
I appreciate it,
And
man.
what the fuck does that even mean? But yeah, no, but I watch you day in and day out very closely. And, I respect what you're doing. And I respect you putting the people first. But it's crazy because to put the people first, because ultimately, and I do this too, it helps you. And
No doubt.
it's almost like a selfish thing by helping someone else. No, but like it's because I had such low self-esteem when I know if I just allocate an hour over the weekend to help someone else or do some kind of activity where it has nothing to do with any self-seeking outcome I'm looking for, I can look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day and know I can hold on to that and know that I helped someone else.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah, thank you for the kind words, dude. I appreciate that. I don't take that lightly. When I was working with a couple of these personal development mentors, really, the whole premise of it was, fulfilling your dharma. What's your purpose here on earth? How good does it feel to be of service to other people? And that's what you need to chase. I feel in society today, it's all selfish, self-seeking behavior. We worship false idols in money and status and all these other things. How much can I accumulate? How much can I hoard? Thinking that, it's all fear-based shit, dude. Like, I need to get everything that I could get out of this life because there's not enough for me to go around, where I tried that route, dude. I went that route. If it wasn't drugs, it was women, relationships. That didn't work. When that didn't work, it was how much money could I possibly made. And I made a ton of money. And then because I was so greedy and fearful, I pissed it all away, plus some, like gambling, stock market, and day trading. I didn't know when to stop. And God needed to strip me down to nothing, bro. Nothing. No relationship, not a lot of money, no job. I left my job to go like coach and speak and do all these other kind of things full time. Like 2 years ago, I haven't had a paycheck in freaking 2 years, living off savings right now. And I recognized through all that I needed to come back to the truth. The truth was God. The truth was that I don't need any of those outside things. Yeah, I want a Rolex. I want a nice car. I want the nice things too and stuff like that. And I'll get it in due time. But the timing wasn't right, because if God gave me those things in the past, I would not be a good steward of them, dude. And he speaks about it illicitly in the Bible about being a good steward of God's works. And all I have to do is obey, dude. And if I go his route, I tell my story, and I've been through a lot, and I got a million other stories that I could ramble on about. But if the gift that I have is I could relate to almost anybody with what they're going through, because I've been there and done that already a couple of times over. And I had a conversation with a boy of mine the other day, and he was talking about something with work and a CEO, and he's like a white collar guy, and he wanted my advice on something, and I had something to relate to it. And he's like, John, it's unbelievable that every single time that I ask you about something that I wouldn't think that you would kind of relate to, you relate to it. And that's the gift of all the shit that I've been through, is that I could relate to everybody on almost anything. And I think addicts and alcoholics, man, we're a different breed because we've experienced some shit. And on the other side of that is a duty, I feel, to give back and extend an olive branch to other people who are going through or have been through some of the shit that we went through. And once I got the idea in my head that I just want to dedicate my life to continuing, number one, to like get better for myself, but to guide other people through their stuff in a way that I was guided to get through mine. Because I was a prisoner of my own, so a victim of circumstance in my own mind for a very long time, and nobody deserves to continue to do that for themselves, and that's all I really care about, man.
Well, John, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for the vulnerability that you shared, just to help another sick and suffering addict or alcoholic out there, or even someone who has time.
Yeah.
And was that, where you were at with the anxiety and, struggling with their mental health.
Yeah.
You can get through it. You can make that change. There are people out there that can help you. So in terms of your life coaching, how can people get in touch with you and find you if they're interested in potentially your services?
Yeah. Through any of my socials, TikTok, Instagram, at John Rokee 21. Feel free to slide in the DMs. Facebook is just my name, John Rokee, or you could go to johnrokee.com, book a discovery call, reach out anyway. I'm glued to my phone anyway. So reach out to me through any of those modalities, and I will get back to you 100%.
And that's John Rokee, John, and Rokee is Rokee.
Mm-hmm.
And his home phone number is say hi to his mom.
Say hi to Marge when you call. She'll be my new secretary. She's looking for something to do anyway.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, bro. I love you a long time, man.
Love you, brother.